Hi, this is the video tutorial for the midterm test number 1 study guide. So if you are studying tonight or you're working on the study guide, this is the perfect thing to tune into. Anyway, it's going to be kind of quick because I have a lot to get through here and I can only do 10-minute videos. So starting with this table, okay. Hey, one thing that I've expected you guys to be able to do is to express a percentage not only as a fraction but also as a decimal. And that's really important because when dealing with operations with percentages, much of the time we have to deal with it in decimal form. The big thing here is this percent sign is really only how would you put it? It takes the place of the phrase out of 100 because percent means out of 100. So remember, because percent means out of 100, you'll notice that this middle column, what you'll be filling out will be fraction form. And the neat thing about it is, whatever this is, it's exactly, it means what it says and says what it means. So when I say 37%, you can look at it as 37 out of 100. It's no joke. You literally just write 37 over 100. Hey, I put over 100 on all these. Honestly, you could just fill this number in. So, you know, we say 12.5 out of 100, same as 12.5%. Now, I don't know this one yet, but we're going to kind of get to that. Going back to number 1 here, 37% is 37 hundredths. Now, I say this on purpose because when you read it 37 hundredths, written as a decimal, it appears thusly. We say, here's our whole number spot. We have the tenths and the hundredths. And how do you express 37 hundredths? You literally just write it like this. Hey, I'm going to remind you of something as well. A fraction really is sort of a division problem. So we are kind of taking 37 divided by 100 to convert this to a decimal. Now, I'm not going to carry out this long division, but you need to remember what we're dividing by here are a bunch of zeros and ones, which basically essentially causes the decimal to shift. And here's what I really wanted to get at. You notice that going from the percent, okay, and there's a decimal at the end of this. Sorry, I'll fill it in for you. Going from the percent to the decimal, really the digits didn't change. That's the effect of this dividing by 100 or zeros and ones thing. But I'll tell you what, the decimal just shifted, and you'll notice that it shifted 2 places to the left. Look, I have to tell you, and I have told you, that this is a constant change, okay? So shifting from a percent to a decimal, I want you to be drawing in 2 little swoops and then expressing it as a decimal. Hey, this will be helpful when we look at this one because a lot of people make a mistake on this, okay? But if you were just to draw in 2 swoops here, what you'll notice is this is actually 0.125. Okay, so 12.5% as a decimal is this. Well, you may say to yourself, if I wanted to go from a decimal then back to a percent, shouldn't I still shift the decimal 2 places? And you're absolutely right. But hey, going from a decimal back to the percent, it's like going back the other way. You're going to take your decimal and shift it twice, but back to the right. This is important because this was not 75%. This literally is 7.5%, and I obtained this, just by drawing in 2 swoops. It is that simple, but it can get confusing if you allow it to. So make sure you're drawing in those arrows. Okay, moving on. Number 6. Hey, we've done a lot of finding a percentage of a number. Recall that of typically means times in math, kind of like and means add and is means equals. This means multiply. So literally, we're going to multiply these 2 numbers. Now remember I said, when you deal with percentages, a lot of the times, operations with percentages require you to express it as a decimal. So I will take 10% times this number, this amount, but I need to write 10% as a decimal. So I'm literally, and you may think this is silly, I'm going to draw in 2 swoops to the left. Hey, I know this is 0.10. So now that I multiply these 2 things, and by the way, notice that I'm putting 3260 on top. That is not a requirement, but I do notice that it's the longer number. It's going to help us out here get it done quicker. Anything times 0 or a product with zeros will produce zeros. So I have 4 zeros here. Once I'm finished with that digit, I move on to the 1, but before doing that, of course, recall that you need to build in a 0, an extra 0, for every extra digit you multiply by. You know, this is an extra digit, so I'll build a 1 0 in this case. Anything times 1, the great thing there is, that's what we call a multiplicative identity. Look, things do not change when you multiply them by 1. So I just will repeat those digits, and you need to stop and say, hey, is my answer reasonable? 10% of that dollar amount should not be $32,600. Look, we've forgotten to place our decimal. Let's not get lazy here. Make sure you are counting up how many digits occur on the right-hand side of a decimal in both of these factors, and then adjust the decimal appropriately. In this case, 4 times. Look, we end up with 3.26. Just to make it clearer, I'll write it like this, and especially right next to this number, recall, this is what I'm getting at. hey, if I wanted to find 10% of any amount as a decimal, I can just take that decimal and mentally shift it one place to the left. That will give me 10%. And the neat thing about 10% is it opens the door to finding 20%, 5%, 25%, 50, a lot of other percentages where all you had to do was some mental math. Okay, moving on. I say, hey, 42 is what percent out of 50? I need you to visually imagine a room of 50 people, say, and 42 of them raising their hand. Or what if you had a 42 out of 50 on your paper? I'm asking you, what percent of this total amount would 42 be? And the best thing to do is express this as a fraction first. And I say 42 out of 50. If you had this on your paper, I know Mr. Neal at least would make you find this by dividing 42 by 50. Oh yeah, recall that a division problem and a fraction are sort of the same thing. Just be careful that you're taking the numerator divided by the denominator. Several people get this wrong and they attempt to put 50 in the box just because it's the bigger number. That's not necessarily the case. And you know what? This makes more sense to me when I say, well, is this even one whole? No, it's not. So watch what happens here. 50 will not go into 4, nor will it go into 2. And that's why I know I'm going to get 0, 0 point something. I'm going to have something less than one whole. This was a proper fraction. Now, building on an extra 0, I said, well, how many times would 50 go into 420? I think it's 8. It's 8, okay? So I say 8. 8 times 5 would be 40, so if we add a 0, that's 400. Of course, you're very well aware that this difference left over something besides 0, so we have to continue. So if I drop down another 0, I would ask how many times 50 goes into 200, and the answer to that is 4. So 4 times 50 is 200, leaving nothing behind in that difference. Okay, and I look at this and I say, well, hold on. Was I looking for a decimal? No, I was looking for a percent. So our answer is a decimal. Let's convert it back to a percent. Just like we did up here, we'll just take that decimal and we'll shift it twice back to the right. So shifting this twice to the right, I realize that this is 84%. And you know what? That is a reasonable answer because 42 is much more than half of this amount. It's bigger than 50%. And I say it's very close to being one whole, actually 42/50. 84% is reasonable. Now, hey, some of you might have looked at this and said, you know, an easier way, because percent means out of 100, would have been to make this out of 100, attempting to use a scale factor. Hey, if you double this, you double the top, and doubling 42, we see that you get 84. I still need you to express that as a percent. And last but not least, let's go over here and look at this fractional sum. Recall, you can't add or subtract fractions without having a common denominator, and most of the time we attempt to have the least common multiple between these two denominators. We're getting lucky in this case. The product of the two denominators is actually the least common multiple. So what we need to do is show our work. Okay, show it. Show me what you are multiplying by, and don't get lazy and try and rush through this because we've seen what happens when you do that. You need to rewrite the problem. I'm insistent upon this. If you do not rewrite the problem, chances are I'm going to count you wrong and not really feel bad if you get the problem incorrect because you didn't listen and take your time, and it could have guaranteed success. So I look at this, I say 12 plus 12, I'm going to get 12, and altogether I should have 17. Now, I always ask this question, say, is this answer correct? And you always say, yeah, it's correct. It is correct. But we do need to simplify. Here's what I'll point out. There are no common factors between 17 and 12 besides 1. So it's not going to help to reduce this, which we always check for first. But since it's improper, I must ask how many times this denominator, because it's a division problem here, goes into the numerator. It goes in one whole time, and I ask, well, how many 12s will be left over? Well, if I took 12 away from this 17, I would have 5 of those 12s left over. I just want to point out one more thing. If this had been a subtraction problem, I simply would have subtracted 8 from 9. It's the same thing. Okay? I hope this helps you. Make sure you're studying before the test.